and a moment of reckoning in the Black Lives Matter movement across this country and the world. A crucial intersection in the search for justice in this country. But overseas, a terrifying picture. Members of the gay community tortured and murdered by their own government. Their so-called crime, being gay. That is what the new HBO documentary, Welcome to Chechnya, reveals in horrifying detail. Praised as an incredible feat of journalism, the director of the film, David France, joins us now. David, welcome. Thank you for being here. Your documentary, Welcome to Chechnya, offers a rare look at persecuted LGBTQ+ people, actually in the process of escaping that republic in southern Russia. How did you get into this project and gain such incredible access?
Well, I first read about the crimes against humanity being committed in Chechnya in early 2017. There were headlines that went around the globe about it, and then the story kind of faded from any sort of public discussion. It was in July of that year that the New Yorker exposed the work that was being done by these incredible superhuman activists in Russia who had taken it upon themselves to go and rescue people, as you say. And so I reached out to them and said, let me join you, let me film in your underground pipeline and tell the world the story of what you're up to and what you're up against.
We want to show people what we're talking about. Let's take a look at your incredible work there.
У нас новая семья, мальчик с девочкой. У нас этот парень, он сильно был травмирован. Они даже боятся к психологу ходить, чтобы не давать лишнюю информацию кому-то. У нас не было такого опыта, что нужно же людей скрывать, нужно искать им визы, какие-то пути тайные вывоза из страны.
Ну, то есть практически 25 человек за месяц получить, это много. Нам пришлось выстраивать контакты с зарубежными партнерами. Помогают нам финансово, помогают нам логистически. Нам действительно удалось объединить практически все существующие на сегодня ЛГБТ-организации в мире для того, чтобы заниматься эвакуацией людей из России.
Just incredible. I have to say, I saw this documentary this week. It's indescribable when I see what happens to people in the gay community in Chechnya. I have to wonder, what went through your mind as you're there on the ground and seeing people that this is impacting?
You know, I knew that I was going to be experiencing a kind of a horror that I've never witnessed up close. You read about stories like this in history books, like really, literally not since Hitler have we had a top-down government-controlled campaign to eradicate the queer community. And so I was bracing, I guess, for what that might look like and what it might look like to the people who were escaping that kind of torture and horror. And it was as dark as you can imagine. It was as hopeless feeling at times. But what I also saw was these heroes who were absent any sort of international outcry over what was happening in Chechnya. They had just took it upon themselves to make a difference, to save lives. And these are people who had no previous experience in this kind of, James Bond kind of work. And yet they felt compelled by their own sense of humanity to step up and do something about it. And to have been allowed to witness that work was one of the highlights of my career in journalism.
What's also extraordinary about this documentary is the technology. I think many times it's subtle, but the documentary utilizes some incredible new methods of concealing the identities of the people you document fleeing for their lives. Explain not only how you were able to nearly flawlessly replace these people's faces, but also why doing so was so important.
Well, I wanted to, as we were just saying, experience the journeys of each of the people I was meeting. And in order to experience the journey of the people who were escaping Chechnya, I had to promise them that I would not reveal their identities because they know that no matter where they land around the globe, they are still being hunted as part of this campaign. It's not enough just to run away. So they will never be safe. And they allowed me to promise them that I would do this and allowed me to film. And it wasn't until I brought the footage back that I realized I had to find a way that would both disguise them and allow their humanity to show through. And what I discovered, never having tried this in the past, was that the tools available to documentary filmmakers are very limited. The tools available to journalists are very limited. And so we started looking at new ways to do this. And we paired with a VFX artist in Los Angeles and worked with the concept of artificial intelligence, which is used for deep fake videos that we've all seen and have been disturbed by. But we used the same approach in the reverse as a way not to falsify a story, but to allow individuals the power to tell their own story, to regain their voices, to have their humanity restored in a way as they are fleeing and as they are sharing their story with the world as safely as they possibly could. So that's how we settled on this new approach.
You've mentioned how people and gay people in Chechnya tortured, beaten by their own government, even by their fellow citizens. But when we highlight those things, we should also highlight that this all goes largely unpunished. In the most basic of terms, explain it to our viewers. Why is this happening?
Chechnya is a republic in Russia, in the Russian Federation. It is governed by all the same laws that all of the Russian areas and regions are governed by. But the Kremlin allows incredible latitude to the criminal activity that has defined the regime there of the local governor, Ramzan Kadyrov. This is not his first round of atrocities. It's merely the first time he's turned it to the LGBTQ community. And it comes at a time when the government in Russia is moving to the right. They are voting in a week on amendments to the Constitution that would enshrine in the Constitution anti-gay laws. And at the same time, the policies that are coming out of the Kremlin are magnified in the hands of some of the people that report to him. And so it's really his responsibility to do something to stop this. He knows it's happening, but he's just denied it. And that's the purpose of this film, was to create evidence, to discover evidence and to bring that evidence forward in a way that make it impossible for him or anybody else to continue denying these crimes.
There are some incredible people, as you know, in this documentary. You end up documenting not only the escape, but the eventual bravery of one young man named Maxim, who becomes the first to go public with the torture he faced in Chechnya. He also is the first to file a complaint with the Russian Investigative Committee because of what he endured. I'll let you take it from there about what happens with this case.
Well, in fact, he remains the only person to have come forward. And it was an act of indescribable bravery that I witnessed as he was developing the courage to do this. He brought criminal charges against the people who tortured him, who captured him, and he named their names, and he described the organizational structure of this government-controlled campaign. And the courts in Russia refused to investigate. Like, literally, they did not allow the case to move forward. And he appealed and he appealed and he appealed until he exhausted all remedies within Russia, and then made the next move. You know, he's not willing to let this thing drop. He moved the charges in his case into the European Human Rights Court, and he is still pursuing it aggressively and at great peril to himself and to his entire family. So they are living in the shadows in Europe. They are frequently moved to new locations. and they are likely to live like this for many more years as this case moves forward, and it will move forward in the European courts, and hopefully we'll see some measure of justice in his case.
What's the current situation in Chechnya? Has anything changed for better or for worse?
Well, like all parts of the world, Chechnya was consumed by the pandemic, remains consumed by the pandemic. The Russian pandemic is still mounting, and what happened in Chechnya as a result was one of the most severe lockdowns anywhere in the world. And all borders have been closed. Most people have been ordered to stay in their homes, and it made it impossible for anybody on the outside to have communication with the LGBTQ community on the inside, and certainly has thwarted all efforts to get people to safety. So we know there are people now in hiding who are waiting for an opportunity for the borders to open so that they can get out. And so it's just made the situation that much worse.
Again, just incredible work there, David. Information and knowledge are key, and we really appreciate what you have done with this documentary. Again, David France's new HBO documentary, Welcome to Chechnya, debuts on June 30th, only on HBO and available to stream on HBO Max.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.